Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 24th of April and I welcome you all at the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, we were not able to stream video in the past few days as most of you might already be knowing that I got COVID, and the ones who are connected with me on Telegram might be knowing this. So now I'm feeling better, little bit restlessness is there, but overall I'm feeling better. So let's resume the newspaper analysis again, and apologies for the inconvenience that happened as we were not able to stream the video. Now from today onwards it will be regular if the health permitted, but it will be regular. I have a confidence. Now starting up, before starting guys, I would like to tell you that you can download the notes of this entire session from our Telegram channel. The link for Telegram channel has been given in description box in YouTube. From there you can download the explainer notes. And before starting, I would like to show you the overview of entire newspaper so that you can understand that which articles are actually important in today's newspaper. So starting up, this is the first page of the Hindu newspaper Delhi edition. Now the first article, Amritpal held in Punjab shifted to jail in Assam. Not important article guys for your examination, and you are not required to go and track this particular thing because such things are not relevant. Then ION polls, Gehlot targets gig workers with welfare law. Now guys, the article is talking about the political announcement that is on the cards. Now, one thing I want to explain you guys here, that what do we understand? Now, the article, uh, these announcements, the manifestos of the political parties are not that much important, but what this word gig worker means. Okay. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that what is the gig worker? So, gig worker is any worker who is working in the gig sector of an economy. Who is working in the gig sector of an economy. Now, what is a gig sector? Gig sector is that particular sector of an economy where the worker and where the employer and employee relations are not very much formal. The relations are not long term. Relations are relations are on the basis of a particular work or on a particular contract. I will give you one example. For example, guys, I make videos on YouTube. Let's say I recorded a video and I want that video to get edited. Now, it doesn't make any sense for me to hire a person on a full-time payroll. What I will do? I will ask a person that you edit one of my video, and for one video, let's say I will pay you 2000 rupees, 3000 rupees. So per assignment basis, our relation have been designed. This is the gig work. So gig workers are the workers who have an informal relation with their employers. The work is on per assignment basis, and if you see today guys, we know that there are so many of these opportunities for the gig workers have opened up. The people who are working in Zomato, the people who are working in Uber, Ola, all of them are gig workers. Along with the gig workers, there is also one more word, that is platform. That is platform workers. This is one more word that is used. Now basically when we see this Ola, Uber, Swiggy, the workers are getting the work on the by one applications platform, so they are also called as the platform workers. So they are the platform workers and gig workers at the same time. So this is about the gig. I hope guys that you have been able to understand it. Okay, now further moving on guys in this particular direction. Okay, so just you should understand this particular keyword. Now further moving on in this particular direction, then we have this advertisement, not very much important for the not at all important for exam. Then city section, we have guys the regional political issues that have largely been given, not very much important for examination. Then guys, again moving on the political articles etc, it has come here. Fine. Advertisements, and then coming to editorial page. Now on editorial page guys, the first article, India as most populous can be more boon than bane. So we know this particular thing, that India is going to surpass China this year in terms of population. So the article is on that particular prospect, we'll see that. Then guys, the side article, defamation perils. Now this article is talking about the Mr. Rahul Gandhi, on whose defamation case was imposed, and because of that, court in Surat has imposed a 2-year, has given a 2-year punishment, 2-year jail term to Rahul Gandhi. Because of that, Rahul Gandhi has also got disqualified from his seat as an MP. Now the article is saying that this particular case doesn't make much of a sense. It is a kind of a political lawfare and all such kind of things are there. However guys, you are not required to go and track the day-to-day development. Okay, if some breakthrough will come in this thing, we need to see it. Otherwise you are not required to go and track it every day. Okay, then further moving on, a new trioca for India's northeast region. We'll see this article with respect to the exam. Good article. Then no small change. Now guys, what this article is talking about, so basically we have the small saving schemes in which the people save some money. For example, there is this PPF, there is a PPF, there is NPS, many such small saving schemes are there. Now what has happened recently, the interest rate on the small saving schemes have been increased by 0.1 to 0.7%. Now understand this particular thing guys. First of all, for the exam that we are preparing, we are not required to track what interest rate increase is there, what interest rate decrease is there, fine, because that is directly connected with the monetary policy. Then further moving on, the opposition unity caution. Now guys, this particular article is talking about that how, see, the article is talking about the electoral strategy of the political parties, how they are coming together against the BJP. So electoral politics of BJP and all such kind of things are being talked about here. Okay, then guys, further moving on in this particular direction, Russia's oil imports to India rises further, trade deficit balloons. Okay, now the article talks about the countries from whom now we are importing more and more oil. Now understand this particular thing guys, that in 2022 we have seen this particular thing, that Russia has become the largest supplier of crude oil to India. So at the same time, immediately, now understand this thing, that when we talk about the oil requirement of India, 84% of India's oil requirement is met by import. So oil import happens to be a very big item into the trade balance of India. So what is happening because of this particular thing, the trade deficit with the Russia is also increasing. Okay, now guys, the article is talking about the India's imports from Russia on different categories and all such kind of things. Then further coming to text and context, the European Union's new crypto legislation. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination guys. Then can a juvenile be tried as an adult in court? We'll see this article also. Then further, Lockbit ransomware. What is this Lockbit ransomware? Fine, we will see this particular article as well. Then further moving on guys, the cases of aviation staff caught smuggling gold doubled in 22-23. So guys, many number of times we have seen that aviation staff, air hostess, cabin crews, etc., they have tried to smuggle gold. They have also tried to smuggle many other foreign currencies also, many number of times it has been seen. So their cases have been doubled. For exam, you are not required to go and track this particular article. Okay, celebrities getting their Twitter blue tick on Twitter accounts, not very much important. Then guys, here there is one important article, network of sensors to monitor groundwater quality. We'll see this particular article for the examination as what it is talking about. Fine, then largely these are the political articles that have been given. So please avoid it. Center will clamp down on Ponzi apps. Fine, we'll see this particular article. Okay, amid global volatility, gold declines to set export target for current year. So guys, we have seen this particular thing, that every year we have a export target, that this much exports will be done by India. But this year we are not going to take any target because of a lot of uncertainty. Russia-Ukraine war is going on. Then there is the inflation that is going on in the world. Okay, recent in 2022, USA has seen the 45-year of worst inflation. So inflation is there. Then there are supply chain constraints. Then Russia-Ukraine war is going on. Then there is also geopolitical tensions going on in the world. So we have not taken any export related target. Then further moving on, Karnataka polls 2023. So guys, basically this entire page has been dedicated to the Karnataka polls, and the political stakes, political alliances, political equations are discussed on this particular page. Now understand this thing, that largely such kind of things are not important for the examination. Okay, so the article is talking about that. Okay, so the article is talking about that how Aam Aadmi Party, Congress, SDPI, AIMIM, fine, how they are going to attract the voters. Then further coming to world page, nations scramble to evacuate citizens as Sudan battles rage. So guys, we have seen that recently the fighting is going on in Sudan between the forces that are loyal to, between the generals. There are the fights that are going on, and there many people are struck belonging to the different countries. Many of the Indians have also been struck. So countries are trying to evacuate their citizens, their diplomats, and all such things. Okay, then further Chinese envoy comments MIF Europe and Ukraine. Not required to see this commentary every day. Okay, then Tamil parties flag escalating attacks on temples. Okay, and then guys, we have this money wise page. Okay, and this money wise page talks largely about the investing and such kind of related themes. Now this article is the supremacy of US dollar under threat. Okay, then the sports page. Okay, so this is guys the overview of entire newspaper. I hope that you have understood it, and why we need to see this overview. It is just so that you can make a sense that what type of articles you should be careful about. Now, let's discuss all these relevant articles one by one in detail. Now, starting up, so guys, in every class we start with the GS quotation. So today we are going to take the quote. So today we are going to take the quotation from Herbert H. Humphrey. Herbert H. Humphrey. So Herbert Humphrey says the moral test of government is how it treats those who are in the dawn of life, the children. Now, what is the dawn? Dawn is that period just before the day rises. So now this particular quotation is a very good and a beautiful quotation on the social justice. So what is a good state? A good state or a moral state is one which looks very carefully on the people who are at the dawn of the life, that is the children, those who are in the twilight of the life, the elderly, and those who are in the shadows of the light, the sick, the needy, and the handicapped. So a good state, a moral state is one which will be caring about the children, elder, disabled, sick, and handicapped people. That is going to be a state of a moral state, a state which is bothered about the social justice, for the social justice. So that is about it. We can use this particular idea in GS paper number 2, GS paper number 4, as well as in essay. We can use this particular quotation. Very good quotation. Now, moving to the first article for today. Now, okay, the European Union's new crypto legislation. The European Union's new crypto legislation. Now we'll see this particular article for GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3, issues related to economy. Moreover guys, within GS paper number 3, there is the money laundering, which happens to be a nuisance. Okay, money laundering. So for the money laundering also, we will see some of the important details here. Now, before going on in this particular article, I would like to give you some of basic background information, and after understanding that background information, we will see that what this article is all about. So guys, you might be knowing this thing that in the last few years, cryptocurrencies, the cryptocurrencies have become very popular. Now, what are the cryptocurrencies? Cryptocurrencies are the digital currencies. They are digital currencies. It means that they are held in digital form. Moreover, at the same time, they are virtual currencies. They don't have any physical counterpart of it. For example, guys, when we talk about the currencies that are issued on gold standard, in those currencies, for example, if you have 100 unit of a currency, you can get it converted in the form of gold. You can get it converted into the form of gold. Which currencies? The currencies which are issued on the gold standard. Okay. But when we talk about the cryptocurrencies, they are the digital currencies. They are held in digital wallet. They are in just the numbers of some units or digits, and they are virtual. Virtual, it means there is no physical counterpart of it. You can never exchange it into the physical format. Moreover, most of the cryptocurrencies that we talk about today, they are not backed by the central banks. Most of them are not backed by the central banks. For example, we have rupee. So rupee is backed by the Reserve Bank of India. But these cryptocurrencies largely are not backed by any central bank. Moreover, these cryptocurrencies, they are minted. These cryptocurrencies are minted on by a cryptographic code. For example, guys, if we talk the example of the most popular cryptocurrencies in the world, that is Bitcoin. So everybody have heard this name, Bitcoin. So how you mint the Bitcoin? So there is a cryptographic cube. What is this cryptographic cube? It is nothing but a set of mathematical problems. Now when we solve these mathematical problems, we get bitcoins. Bitcoin. So they are minted by solving a cryptographic code. They are stored, as well as the transactions are done on the basis of cryptography. Okay, the transactions are done on the basis of cryptography. Okay, and all such kind of things happen largely through this cryptographic operation. So therefore, they are also called as the cryptocurrencies. Now, when we talk about the cryptocurrencies, in the past few years, so many of the cryptocurrencies have come. For example, there is Bitcoin, there is Ethereum, okay, and there is Livecoin. Many such kind of cryptocurrencies have come. But largely, these cryptocurrencies are not properly regulated. Moreover, it has been seen that the way in which these cryptocurrencies are being exchanged, there are a lot of problems. Let me tell you one very big issue that came there. Guys, a few years back on dark web, on a dark web, understand this particular thing, guys, that the web that you see, the web that you can access by the Google, it is just 5 to 8%, but majority of the internet is not accessible through the Google or by the normal means, that is the dark web that you cannot access. So few years back there was a website on the dark web by the name of the Silk Road, and on that particular website, you might be knowing or not, but I tell you, on that website human organs were traded, drugs were traded, weapons were traded, anything that you can imagine was traded on this particular website, that is Silk Road, including the human organs, and the payment was done in the form of the cryptocurrency. Okay, why? Because guys, when we talk about the cryptocurrencies, as they are digital, they can travel borderless. Moreover, as they are not backed by the central bank, many number of times people don't know that actually who are the ones who are exchanging these cryptocurrencies. So anonymity is there in these cryptocurrencies. So on the Silk Road and such kind of websites, they were being used. Nowadays we have seen that the cryptocurrencies are also being used in terror financing. In terror financing they are being used. Understand this thing, that in terror financing, if dollar has to be given, obviously the dollar, either there are only the two ways by which the dollar can be transferred. It have to be transferred physically, or it has to be transferred digitally. If it has to be transferred digitally, the transfers will happen only by the bank to bank. So when the bank to bank transfer is happening, you can catch that okay, this money is going for terror financing. Or when the physically that particular money is being moved, then also it can be caught while crossing the border. Or many number of times it is not easy to transfer physical money from one place to B place. But these cryptocurrencies, now these cryptocurrencies, they can be transferred very much anonymously. So the terror financing is also happening today by these cryptocurrencies. Moreover, we have also seen that cryptocurrency opens happen to be a very much volatile. Okay, we have seen that the cryptocurrencies, for example, if you talk about the Bitcoin, one Bitcoin has surpassed even 40 lakh rupees. Okay, but there is a lot of much volatility. Just 1 minute back, one Bitcoin, let's say, is 40 lakh rupees. After 2 minutes, it will go to 45 lakh rupees, or it will go to 30 lakh rupees also. So there's a lot of volatility in the pricing of this particular cryptocurrencies. Okay, understand this particular thing. Second problem that is there is that what has happened, there are a lot of scandals also that have happened. For example, FTX, it was a crypto exchange. FTX was a crypto exchange. It got collapsed and billions of dollars of money was lost in that. Moreover, guys, we have also seen this particular thing that many of the agencies, many of the companies who are dealing in cryptocurrencies, they have went bankrupt. Okay, so many such problems are there in these cryptocurrencies. Now, we need to regulate these cryptocurrencies now. We need to regulate these particular cryptocurrencies. Now, understand this particular thing, just a minute. Okay, so we need to regulate these cryptocurrencies, but right now we don't have laws in this particular direction. So what has happened, European Union has become the first organization which had come out with the law to regularize these cryptocurrencies as well as the operations related to this cryptocurrency. Now, what has happened? Okay, now what has happened actually? Let me zoom it out properly. Okay. So recently, what has happened? European Parliament. Now, what is European Parliament? European Parliament is a legislative body over all the countries within European Union. Right now, there are 27 countries in the European Union. So, over these 27 countries, there is European Parliament. And European Parliament has approved a law to regulate the cryptocurrencies. And the name of this law is MICA. That is Markets in Crypto Assets. Market in Crypto Assets. Now, what this MICA law talks about, it provides this particular thing that after seeing the failures in cryptocurrencies in 2022, we have come out with this particular law which will apply on number one, the crypto assets. It will apply on the crypto assets. So, all the cryptocurrencies, all the virtual digital cryptocurrencies, all the virtual digital assets, etc. on them, it will be applied. Then next, further moving on in this particular direction, guys, it is talking about that it will applicable on crypto assets such as the bitcoins, etc. And secondly, it will also be applicable on the crypto asset service providers. It will be applicable on crypto assets, currencies. Also, it will be applicable on crypto service providers. Now, who are the crypto service providers? These are those organizations or agencies which are giving you the many facilities. For example, guys, let me tell you. See, when you have a Bitcoin, you need to store that particular Bitcoin in a digital wallet. Secondly, guys, suppose I want to buy a Bitcoin. How I can buy a Bitcoin? I can go and I can solve those cryptographic operations and can mint my own Bitcoin. Or secondly, I can buy a Bitcoin from some another person who is having it. So what these crypto asset service providers does, they provide a market. They provide a kind of a platform where these crypto assets can be sold, they can be exchanged, they can be traded. Okay, so they provide the facilities for transfer of crypto assets. They provide the facilities such as the market or platform for the crypto assets. So they are called as the crypto asset service providers. They will also be regulated. Okay, now actually this MiCA law that it has come, it will not regulate the central bank digital currencies. Now guys, you might be knowing about this thing that recently what has happened, e-rupee was released by the Reserve Bank of India. So e-rupee is India's central bank digital currency. It is nothing but it is a digital counterpart of the physical rupee that we have. So many such countries is now coming with the centrally banked digital currencies. They will not be regulated under this particular MiCA law. It will only be regulating the crypto assets, cryptocurrencies, crypto asset service providers, etc. Now under this particular law, it has been provided that the crypto asset service provider, the exchanges, etc., they need to get authorized, they need to get registered in any one member country of European Union. And if they are registered, then they can provide their services across all the 27 countries of European Union. They will also be these crypto asset service providers, these exchanges, these platforms, they will also be regulated by the European Banking Authority, European Securities and Market Authority. Okay, why? Because they will check that whether they are fulfilling all compliances or not, whether they are carrying out the due diligence of the law or not, whether all the declarations are being issued by them, whether corporate governance practices are being followed by them or not. So all these particular compliances will be checked by the European Banking Authority and the European Securities and Market Authority. This is about it. Now further in this particular law, there is also one more provision that has been issued, and this provision is actually very, very important. In the start, I have told you that nowadays these crypto assets, these cryptocurrencies are being used for money laundering purposes, for terror financing it is being used. So basically it has also been provided that the crypto companies, they need to send information of senders and recipients of crypto assets. For example, Mr. A is sending Bitcoin to Mr. B. So the detail of Mr. A or Mr. B also is to be given, so that we can ensure that this particular transaction is not happening for some illicit purpose, for some drug trade. This transaction is not happening. This transaction is not happening for some arms trade or all such kind of things. So this is all that has come here in this particular direction. Now when we talk about the crypto regulation in India, so as of now, do we regulate the crypto assets? Guys, see, we have come out with certain regulations, but we don't have an overarching, we don't have a comprehensive law on cryptocurrencies in India as of now. We don't have any such kind of a law. Now in this particular capacity, understand this thing, that what has happened in the budget of 2022, the government finance ministry had said this particular thing, that so many crypto trades, crypto transactions are happening, and it was provided that the 30% tax will be imposed on the income from the transfer of any virtual digital asset. What does it mean? Suppose I bought a Bitcoin at 10 lakh rupees. Okay, I bought a Bitcoin at 10 lakh rupees, and now I am selling this particular Bitcoin at 40 lakh rupees. Okay, now I bought it at 10 lakh, I am selling at 40 lakh rupees. In between, I have made 30 lakh rupees of profit. So on this particular profit, 30% tax will be imposed. So this is something. Then secondly, what has happened this year March, the government has also come out with the regulation and provides that all the transactions which are involving the virtual digital assets such as the cryptocurrencies, bitcoins, ethereums, etc., all these particular transactions will come under the purview of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Okay, so will come under the purview of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Okay, so we have the PMLA 2002. So this is the way India has approached it, but we don't have any comprehensive law with respect to the cryptocurrencies, but we are hopeful that it will come in the future. Now, one thing guys, I wanted to tell you this, understand this thing, that just give me 5 seconds. Okay, so what has happened when we talk about the privacy law in India? When we talk about the privacy law in India, uh, first of all, understand this thing. Supreme Court in Puttaswamy judgment. Supreme Court in Puttaswamy judgment has provided that right to privacy is a fundamental right under Article 21. PN Shri Krishna Committee. PN Shri Krishna Committee has also been constituted, which is studying the right to privacy law in India. Now guys, understand this particular thing. It has been said that now we are bringing the privacy law in India, but what is a template? Okay, we are talking about the privacy law. We are talking about the data localization. We are talking about the data localization. What is data localization? Let me tell you. Basically guys, today, suppose, okay, let's take one example of Amazon. So you are doing shopping from Amazon and you have also stored your card information on Amazon. Now, if you are storing some information on Amazon, where now that information has to be stored somewhere in physical servers also. So whenever you are storing some information on Amazon, the physical servers of Amazon are in US. So actually the physically your information is being stored in the US on the US server. Now the data localization provides that if any company wants to store any information, then those servers need to be physically located in India. Why? Just to protect the data of the citizens of that particular country. So understand this thing, that when we talk about the data protection law, when we talk about the privacy or data laws in general, they have been influenced by the GDPR. GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, and this GDPR was also the law that was created in European Union. So European Union has become a template for data protection regulations, and now European Union is also becoming a template for the crypto regulations. Okay, right till now, neither there is a comprehensive law in US nor there is a comprehensive law in any other country. So European Union is becoming a template for the crypto regulation also, as it has become in the past in the context of the privacy data privacy laws. So guys, I hope that you are able to understand that what I'm trying to tell you here. Okay, now moving to the next article. Moving to the next article. Okay, now first of all, let's read what the article is talking about. So article says that how can a juvenile be tried as an adult in court? How can a juvenile be tried as an adult in the court? Now, before going in this particular article, let me tell you some background information, and after understanding that background information, we'll go in this particular article. Okay. Now, guys, you might have heard the word juvenile. You might have heard the word juvenile. What? First of all, there are two words, juvenile and a child. What is the difference between a juvenile and child? Now, child, guys, is a person who is not a major. Let's say the person below the age of 18 can be called as a child. Any person below the age of 18 is a child. Now understand one more thing I want to tell you. There are the different definition. There are different laws in India which defines children differently. Okay. For example, Factories Act definition is different. Then Prevention of Child Labor Act, the definition is different. But if I give you one example, you take the example of United Nations Convention on Child Rights. United Nations Convention on Child Rights define who is a child, any person who is below the age of 18 years. Now then there is also one word, juvenile. Now the word juvenile is used for those children who are in conflict with the law. So every child will not be called as a juvenile. Juvenile is a legal term used for only those children who have come in conflict with the law. Now understand this particular thing, guys. When we talk about the children and when we talk about the adult, they cannot be treated equally because their physical and mental condition is different. A child's mental makeup and a child's physical capacity are different than of adult. So we treat children differently when they have come and we treat juvenile differently when they have come in the conflict with the law. And for that particular purpose, we have the Juvenile Justice Act. Now guys, understand this thing. We have the Juvenile Justice Act of 2000, which actually got replaced by the Juvenile Justice Act of 2015. Why? Because you might be knowing that there was the Nirbhaya rape case that happened. Okay. Now after the Nirbhaya rape case, it was found that the juvenile was involved in the Nirbhaya rape case who was the most aggressive one. Okay, and at that point of a time, it was provided that the juvenile, maximum punishment for a juvenile can be 3 years and even that into the correctional home. Okay, and it was realized that many number of times, for example, let's say a person is 17.5 years, he will be treated as juvenile, but the moment he will become 18 years, he will be treated as an adult. Now, many people say that what difference will come within these 6 months? Many number of times the children of 17.5 years, 17 years, they have well become adult by their mind as well as by their physique. So treating every person as a juvenile just below the 18 years, okay, and even in that name they are doing so much of heinous crimes, okay. So we need to have some kind of a exception in these particular kind of a cases. Okay, so guys, understand this particular thing. What happened? Juvenile Justice Act came in 2015. It replaced the Juvenile Justice Act of 2000. Now this Juvenile Justice Act of 2015 had a particular provision. It has a provision that in the cases of heinous crimes, there can be the possibility that the individuals who are between the age of 16 to 18, there is a possibility that the individuals who are between the age of 16 to 18, they can be treated as adult. Okay. For example, you take that Nirbhaya rape case. So in Nirbhaya rape case, there was a juvenile. Okay. Now he was the most aggressive one. But at that point of a time, because this type of provision was not there, he was given the maximum punishment of 3 years, and the people were very outraged on that particular thing. So now this provision has been brought that the children, the people between the 16 to 18, they can be treated as an adult. There is a possibility. Now coming to this particular article. So this was the basic thing that you need to know. Now guys, what has happened? National Commission for Protection of Children, NCPCR, it has come out with the guidelines. Which have to be followed by the Juvenile Justice Board for establishing that whether a person is to be treated as a juvenile or whether a person is to be treated as an adult. Now understand this particular thing, guys. Under the Juvenile Justice Act, there will be a body by the name of the Juvenile Justice Board, and this Juvenile Justice Board will look in the matter that a person can be treated as an adult or can be treated as a juvenile. Now when it is dealing with this particular matter, they have to follow certain guidelines, they have to follow certain norms, they have to follow certain rules. So these guidelines have now been issued by the NCPCR. Now understand, under the Juvenile Justice Act, the offences have been categorized in 3 categories. The petty offences. In this matter, petty offences, for example, pickpocketing, for example, some minor scuffle, some small kind of theft. These are the petty offences. Then there are the serious offences, okay, and then there are the heinous offences. So this Juvenile Justice Act has divided offences in petty, serious and heinous. Now, petty offence, if a person is below 18, has to be definitely be dealt as juvenile. Serious offence, if a person is below 18 years, has definitely be dealt to as juvenile. But this third category, heinous offence, here there is a possibility that a person can be treated as a juvenile. Okay, now understand this thing. If a person committed heinous crime but is below the 16 years, definitely has to be treated as juvenile. But if a person committed heinous offence and is between 16 to 18 years, there is a possibility that can be treated as an adult. Okay, now what conditions have to be seen by the Juvenile Justice Board? So Juvenile Justice Board need to carry a preliminary assessment of these children or these juveniles, and they need to see that what was the mental condition of that particular person, what was the physical capacity of that particular person, Did that person had ability to understand the consequence of this particular offense? For example, a person has murdered another person. Did that juvenile, or who was a 16-year-old or 17-year-old, knew the offense, knew the consequences? Fine. The circumstances in which the person allegedly committed the offense. So these conditions are needed to be seen by the Juvenile Justice Board. And the article is saying that this change is talking about that when the Juvenile Justice Board is there, it need to have at least one member. It need to have at least one member who is practicing a profession, who is a practicing professional with a degree in child psychology or child psychiatry. Okay, so within this Juvenile Justice Board, they need to have one member at least who is practicing the child psychology or is having or is practicing the child psychiatry. And if they don't have one such member, then they can also take the assistance of psychologists or the experts who have experience of working with children in difficult circumstances. Okay, so there will be number one, Juvenile Justice Board. Number two, this Juvenile Justice Board will determine that whether a child is to be treated as a juvenile or has to be treated as an adult. Only those children can be treated as an adult who are into the 16 to 18 group. Third, when determining this particular thing, they need to see certain factors. What factors? Mental condition, physical capacity, ability to understand the consequence, circumstance in which they have committed the offense, all these things. Then this Juvenile Justice Board need to have at least one member who is who's having a degree in child psychology or child psychiatry, or if such person is not there, then any person who is a psychologist, or who has experience of dealing with children in difficult circumstances. Moreover, at the same time, it is also being provided that the children or such kind of families, they will also be provided a legal aid or a lawyer through the district legal service authority. Okay, they will be provided a lawyer so that they can represent their particular case. Moreover, further the article is talking about, guys, that see, in the context of India, the problem is not that we don't have law. Rather, the problem is that the implementation of these laws often don't happen. So need to understand that whatever these new rules have come, they need to get implemented properly. Okay, this is all about this particular article. Now moving to the next article. Moving to the next article. Logbit ransomware. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, cyber crimes. Okay, now cyber crimes. Okay, so basically, guys, what has happened, this Lockbit ransomware has recently come in the news, and this Lockbit ransomware is particularly targeting the Apple computers. Okay, let's understand this particular issue little bit more. Now, first of all, understand this particular thing, that what is this ransomware? So ransomware is a particular type of a cyber attack. In this cyber attack, what will happen? Suppose I am a cyber attacker or I am a cyber hacker. I will infiltrate a virus in your computer. That particular virus will lock some of your important files. And if you want to access those files, then I will demand some ransom from you. I will demand some money from you. Usually this particular ransom or this money is demanded into the forms of the cryptocurrency such as the Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. Because I told you in the first article that there is a lot of anonymity in these particular kind of things. So basically, guys, what has happened few years back, there was also one more ransomware that became very much notorious, that is WannaCry. So when we talk about the ransomware, what is a ransomware? Now, ransomware are particular type of cyber attacks in which your computer system will be hacked, your files will be logged, And if you want again the access of that particular file, if you again want access of your computer, you need to pay some ransom, you need to pay some money. Now this kind of attacks are done. Okay, now guys, when we talk about this particular lockbit ransomware, lockbit ransomware, they do the same thing. Okay, they will infiltrate the system and they will encrypt your important files, and if you want to access them, you need to pay money in the form of the cryptocurrency. And this particular gang which is operating this lockbit ransomware, they tell you that if you don't provide the information, we will sell your data, we will sell your information on the dark web. Now understand this thing, many number of times this information is very much sensitive. Let me give you an example. Suppose guys, now see this thing, there are many of the payment gateways, let's say many of the edutech companies are there, they are having so much of the data. If their servers are hacked and if that particular information is sold on the dark web, the reputation of that particular company will be muddied. Okay, so therefore the people pay money, the people pay money. Now, when it has been provided that recently these lockbit ransomware attacks, they have increased a lot in US, China, India, Ukraine and Indonesia. Now, one peculiar or one very different thing in this attack that is there is that guys, they are particularly targeting the Apple systems. Now, when we talk about the ransomware attacks, traditionally they have targeted the Windows, Linux, okay, systems and other systems, but Mac users, Apple users have now been specifically targeted for the first time. Now, when we talk about this particular lockbit ransomware, now this is a self-spreading malware. It means that once it has been infiltrated in a computer system, no commands are to be given. Automatically it spreads itself through the entire system, and it can also hide itself, it can camouflage itself. It has been said that basically it spreads throughout the organization. Moreover, this ransomware, lockbit ransomware, it operates on ransomware as a service model, RAS, ransomware as a service model. Now actually what happens, the developers of this lockbit ransomware, they will provide this particular virus to many of the hackers and cyber criminals, and they will ask that okay, you identify the target and you infiltrate this particular virus in the people's computers, and whatever the money you will receive, we will get a share out of that. Okay, so for example, I developed this lockbit ransomware, I will then find 20 hackers, I will give the access of this particular ransomware to that 20 people and will say that okay, now you carry this infiltration in other people's system, and whatever money you will get, I will also take a share. So this is a model on which it operates. Okay, now guys, when we talk about India, in India, we need to be very careful because first of all, cyber security architecture is not in the place in India. Second guys, we see there is a lot of gaps, and India is a market which is becoming a emergent hub of the cyber technology. The operations are turning on to the online and all such kind of things. This is all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Network of sensors to monitor the groundwater quality. Okay, guys, just give me 5-10 seconds. We will resume in 5-10 seconds. Just give me 5-10 seconds. Okay, now moving to the next article. Network of sensors to monitor groundwater quality. Okay, now this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 3 infrastructure, GS paper number 3 infrastructure, okay, GS paper number 1 resources, GS paper number 1, resources. Water is an important resource. Okay. Now, what actually has happened, guys, recently Jal Shakti Ministry of Jal Shakti has come out with an ambitious plan to track the water availability, to track the water contamination in real time in the aquifers, in the well, in the groundwater sources. Now, understand this particular thing, guys, that as we talk about the groundwater, it is one of the most exploited natural resource. Now, just to give you some data, guys, if we go at down here, we see this particular thing that today the groundwater extraction is very high in our country. Now, in the entire country, if we take an average, the groundwater extraction is around 60%. Groundwater extraction is about 60%, which is not very much good. But if we go and we extract the groundwater, 70% it is considered as critical. So groundwater extraction of more than 70% is critical. But when we talk about certain states such as Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Rajasthan, here the groundwater extraction is actually 100%. Groundwater extraction is 100%. So above 70% it is critical, but 100% groundwater extraction in these states. So what is happening? The groundwater table is going very much down. The aquifers, water levels are at critical level. Moreover, in agriculture, we are using so much of nitrogen, we are using so much of chemical fertilizers, chemical pesticides, and many number of times because of the over usage of chemical fertilizers and pesticides, many of times they get leached into the soil and eventually they enter into the groundwater. So this entire groundwater also becomes contaminated. Arsenic poisoning is a very big problem of groundwater contamination in India. But many number of times we don't have information that groundwater level is going that much down. We don't have information about any contamination if it has happened into the groundwater. See, if there is any contamination in air, fine, we have real time sensors which are measuring what is PM 2.5, what is the level of PM2, PM1, what is the level of SOX, what is the level of NOx in the air. We know it in the real time. But what about the water pollution? We don't have any avenue to know it in real time as what is the level of water, what is the contamination in water. So to solve this particular issue, now the Ministry of Jal Shakti has come out with the initiative. Now, what Ministry of Jal Shakti is coming? It is deploying a network of groundwater sensors. It is deploying a network of groundwater sensors which will track the groundwater movement in the real time, and real time all the information will be relayed to the data centers that okay, whether groundwater is coming up, whether the groundwater is going down, contamination, suppose suddenly some pollutants have got added into the water, all that information will be given fine up till to the taluk level. Now, guys, when we talk about that right now, what is the practice? Right now, the Central Groundwater Board has a network of 26,000 groundwater observation well. 26,000 wells are there. And what happens few times in a year, let's say once in 4 months, once in 5 months, the technician, they will manually measure the state of the groundwater in a region. So in entire country, there are 26,000 wells that have been maintained. In every well, the technician will go, they will measure the water level, they will measure the contamination, and will try to come out with a picture that what is the condition of aquifers, what is the condition of groundwater in an entire country. Okay, but now what will be done? On the real time, continuous monitoring will be possible. So initially what will happen? In 16,000 to 17,000 digital water level recorders will be installed. They will be connected with the piezometers. Now, what are these piezometers? Piezometers will measure the groundwater level and will record that information and will transmit the information digitally. So 16 to 17,000 piezometers digital water recorders will be deployed, and over the years this particular thing will be spread to most of the water wells that we are having. Now the Central Groundwater Board, it is executing it, and Central Groundwater Board is also leading the National Aquifer Mapping Program. So it wants to map the aquifers which have the groundwater stored in it. And as of now, it has mapped the aquifers at the resolution of 1:50,000. And it has also starting the second phase. in which the quality will further be improved. So by this particular program, we will be able to understand the condition of the groundwater, their level, the pollutions and everything. So that is all about it. And now moving to the next article. India as most populous can be more boon than bane. Now, guys, if you are following the newspapers, and even the last week there is this particular article that came, and the article said this particular thing, that United Nations World Population Prospect Report was released. And according to the United Nations World Population Prospect Report, India is going to overtake China as the most populous country in the mid 2023. Now, this particular topic is going to be important for GS paper number 1, issues related to population. So if you go and you see the GS paper number 1 syllabus, or directly it mentions the issues related to the population. Okay, this is mentioned there. Now, further, so the article is talking about that by mid 2023, India will become the most populous country in the world, and it is providing this particular thing. See, first of all, exact data is not possible. Why? Because India has not conducted the census after 2011. So whatever data is coming, it is just a kind of an estimate. And as per the estimates, it is being said that India's population will reach 142.86 crore by the mid 2023, and will have 2.9 million more people in India compared with the China. So India's population will be 2.9 million more when compared with the China. This is India's population growth. Now, the article is talking about this particular thing, that first of all, now whether it is good or whether it is bad, in order to understand the population increase as good or bad, we need to understand some underlying factors. First of all, we need to understand the population growth, size and the composition of our population. Now see this particular thing, that in a country, population is a resource or a population can be a burden. Now, when we talk about the population as a resource, it stays as a resource as long as the country's carrying capacity is intact. Now, understand this thing. Every country has a carrying capacity in terms of the number of people. And now, when we talk about the carrying capacity, it doesn't just means the physical space to carry the people. Now, understand this thing. How much health care it can provide, how much economic support it can provide, how much jobs it can provide, how much education it can provide. Suppose a country have the enough number of schools that it can provide the education to 100 children, and the another country has schools which can provide the education to 500 children. So the carrying capacity of country B or the second country is more than the country 1. So physical space is only one thing, but apart from the physical space, how many people you can provide employment, how can people you can provide education, how many people you can provide healthcare, how many people you can provide food, that is the carrying capacity of that particular state. And the carrying capacity of a particular state is directly proportional to the expenditure on social justice that is being done by that particular state. Okay, now understand this thing. Suppose a state has a carrying capacity of 100 people, it can provide jobs, education, health to 100 people, but population of that country is 200. Then in this context, population is going to be a burden. Population is going to be a burden. But if population is 100 and it can the carrying capacity is 100, then the population is going to be the boon. It is going to be a blessing. Okay, so this is something that we need to understand. Now, when we talk about guys, the context of India, 68% of the fine. When we talk about the India, 68% of the working age population we are having in 2023. It means that 68% population in India, it is 68% population in India, it is above 15 years and below 59 years, in the bracket of 16 to 59 years. It means they can work, they can participate in economic activity. It looks a good prospect. It looks a good prospect. But further, we need to understand that if we want to take advantage of this particular population, we need to focus on certain parameters. Number one, we need to focus on employment. See, we have the population who is in the working age. We have the population who is in working age. But if they don't get employment, if they don't get jobs, what will happen? Then it will become a demographic disaster. They will not be able to contribute in India's economic growth. Second, we also need to give them education. Fine. We need to give them skills, as well as also we need to give them the healthy lifespan, so that they stay away from the disease, they participate by that education in economic activities. That is something that is needed to be given. And then The next thing that is coming in this particular direction is that, guys, also there is a need of good governance. What good governance? Government need to come out with certain such laws. It needs to come out with such schemes, such welfare mechanisms that it increases the productivity of the people, it increases the creativity of the people, it leverages their productivity, creativity, taps that, gives them opportunity. Such kind of laws are also needed. Now, when we talk about, guys, around the world, we see this particular thing that many countries such as the Japan, many countries such as Japan, China, US, what they are seeing the graying population. Their old age population is increasing, their young population is going down. What these countries are going, they are implementing the pro-natalist policies. What is pro-natalist policies? Pro-natalist policies means giving incentive to the people so that they give birth to more and more number of children. Many European countries, fine, are doing this particular thing, incentivizing the parents to give more birth to the children so that they become the contributors in economic growth. They are going in that particular thing. Now, when we talk about the India, India has a potential to become a worldwide market for both production and consumption. See, the next, now see, China already the wages have increased. India can become the factory to the world now. The next factory to the world can India, and India can also become the consumer also. So India has a high economic prospects. It has been said that India's population can boost the per capita GDP by 43% by 2061 if our population is given socio-economic political enabling environment. This is something that can be done. So we need to ensure that our population is healthy, our population is educated, our population is learning vocational skills. We need to ensure all these particular things. So that is all, guys, about it. And now moving to the next article. A new troika for India's northeast region. A new troika for India's northeast region. Now, what this particular article, guys, is all about. So basically, just okay. Now, guys, this particular article is talking about the development of the northeast region. So therefore, we will be seeing this particular article with respect to the case study for regional development, GS paper number 1 as well as GS paper number 3. Now, when we talk about the northeast region of India, guys, within the northeast, first of all, you might be knowing about the 7 sister states of northeast, but within the definition of the northeast, we actually include most of the times the 8 states, that is Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura, and Sikkim. Okay. Now, when we talk about the northeast region is very much important for India. Number one, because of its strategic location vis-a-vis the China is concerned. Secondly, northeast region is that particular region of the country which can play a very important role in the look east policy of India. So the northeast can integrate its economy and can provide can connect with the Bangladesh, okay, and it can become an export hub to the Southeast Asia. Okay. Now, recently what has happened, third India-Japan intellectual dialogue was held in Agartala. India-Japan intellectual dialogue was held in Agartala. Now, this particular dialogue was it brought together the experts and policy makers that how the northeastern part of India can be integrated with the other South Asian countries such as Bangladesh and towards our other east. Now, the article is talking about that right now, in order to ensure the development of the northeast, 3 countries need to come together, that is Bangladesh, India, and Japan. Now, recently what has happened, very important project that was discussed, at India-Japan intellectual dialogue, fine, was Matarbari Deep Sea Port. Now, the Matarbari Deep Sea Port is being developed into the Bangladesh. It is being developed in the Bangladesh and it will be operational by 2027. It is being constructed with the Japanese assistance. Now, this Matarbari Deep Sea Port, it will be very much important because it will provide the connectivity to the Bangladesh, as well as through the Matarbari Deep Sea Port, the northeastern states of the India, they will also get the port accessibility. And once they get a port accessibility, they can leverage their exporting possibilities. It is also being said that Bangladesh and the northeast, they tend to become a industrial corridor in this particular region. Okay, they tend to become the industrial corridor, and for that they need infrastructure, and Matarbari deep sea infrastructure project is going to be very important. Now it was providing that during this particular dialogue, it was provided that we need to increase the connectivity of the northeast region through the roads, railways. Okay, this is something that is done. We also need to bring a lot of industrialization here. Now when we talk about, guys, the northeast, I already told you it has a strategic location. It shares the border with Nepal, Bhutan, China, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and it can develop the manufacturing capabilities in agro processing, man-made fibers, handicraft, two-wheeler assembly, mobile phone assembly. In all these pharmaceuticals, the northeast can play a very important role. So we need to invest a lot in the northeast region's development. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that one single country cannot be an investor. Fine, just you think that only by bringing the investment from Japan, we will be able to develop this entire region. No, it is not going to happen. Along with the Japan, we also need the Indian companies that they should invest in this particular region. Only then, after the public and private investment, this particular region will be able to leverage its full potential. Further, the article is also talking about that as we are talking about bringing the Japanese investment in this particular region, we also need to use the BIMSTEC, that is Bay of Bengal Initiative for multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation. So BIMSTEC countries all needs to come together. If we don't use the BIMSTEC, it is going to be self-defeating. And secondly, the article is talking about that what we need to ensure. We need to ensure a BIJ forum. Forum should also be launched. What is BIJ? BIJ stands for Bangladesh, India and Japan. Okay, so Bangladesh, India and Japan needs to come together under the BIJ forum, and and should come together as a BIJ forum, and this BIJ forum should be officially formally launched to spearhead the development in this region. So that is all about this particular article, guys. I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Now this particular article, guys, it is talking about center will clamp down on Ponzi apps, says finance minister. Now you don't need to go too much in the detail of this particular article, guys. What is actually the Ponzi apps, Ponzi schemes? So Ponzi schemes are something like this, that you invest some money in a particular scheme, and you bring two people to join this particular scheme. Then these two people will bring other two members, they will join this particular scheme. Then they will bring other two members, they will join this scheme. Okay, so these multi-level marketing schemes, okay, or the Ponzi apps, where you will bring two people and you will receive some commission. Those two people will bring other two people, they will receive some commission. So what is happening? These are the Ponzi schemes. It is being said that these schemes actually don't have any viable business model. What actually is happening? You see here, for example, you paid 10,000 rupees, you will bring two people, they both will be paying 10,000 rupees. Okay, and now you will get a commission, let's say 1,000 rupees. So you paid 30,000 rupees and you got 1,000 rupees. So what is actually happening in this entire pyramid? What is happening? Some money is coming and a part of money is being given to the agents as a commission. There is no viable business model. And many of the people, thousands and thousands of people, have lost their money in such kind of a Ponzi schemes. Many such apps are also now coming. So finance minister had said that we will bring a crackdown on these Ponzi schemes, will bring a crackdown on these particular applications. But as of now, what type of law will come? It will be released in the times to come. As of now, just they have said that we will come out with the law. So you are not required to go too much in detail. And now the main practice question for today. The question says that India is soon going to be the most populous country in the world. With this, the country needs policies that support an enabling environment that can provide high quality education, good health, employment, good infrastructure and gender empowerment. Comment. This will be going to be a GS paper number 1 10 marker question. So that is all, guys, about today. I hope, guys, that you have understood it, and guys, with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Now, guys, we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. And one more thing I want to address here, guys, that many number of times I get a comment that, sir, please enable the download option. Now understand this thing, guys, that from our side download option is enabled. Now we are streaming this video live. Now this particular video will be uploaded on YouTube by YouTube's end, then it will get processed, and once it will get processed, then it will be available for download. So we don't have any control on that. That is entirely on the YouTube's end. So when YouTube will process the video, then they will give the download button. So if you go and if you see certain videos, old videos, you will find the download option there. Fine. Why? Because they have now got processed. So it takes time from the YouTube's end. Okay, so that is all guys about it. Thank you so much. Now we'll meet tomorrow. And guys, thank you for asking for the help. Now I'm feeling relatively better. Thank you guys.